Oh, it's just a clock, that's why. Okay, so your test. So over chapters 1 through 6. I'm bringing it up right now. Your test is currently a bunch of questions. Is that helpful at all? Your test is currently 22 questions. I might add a couple more, but not many. So let's talk about what these are. What I did was I went through each chapter and tried to include some questions from the chapter, obviously. I went through it and we talked about primitives, we talked about integers, we talked about float. So far, they were all multiple choice or true false. That will be changing slightly. But so far, which I'll get to the other part in a minute, but so far they're all multiple choice. I'm going to let you take this at home. You're going to have a short time limit to take it. The reason is, I'm aware, just as you're aware, if I ask you something and I have to give you unlimited time, what could you do? You could literally type it in Python, type in every question and find the answer, go through the entire book, find the answer, and then answer. That's not what I want to do here. If you haven't been following along and don't know how this stuff works, you're not going to have time to do it. What will happen is you're going to get the first quarter of the test done, and you're going to run out of time. They're going to say, I ran out of time. So what I highly recommend you doing is, walk through the book. Everything on this test we've done, literally have done on the screen. Okay? Just know how they work and know how to do them. The book has tons of examples. Walk through the ones I did. Okay? Spend a couple hours doing that. You will be able to type these into Python to verify the answers, but again, you will run out of time. I'm making them sufficiently long that you would have to do a lot of typing to type them all in. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, it's by design. I can't let you just type in every answer. Okay. So at the moment, they're all true, false, multiple choice. The first one, I give you a small Python script. What's the output of it? From chapter 1, very basic stuff. Okay? No, look over chapter 1. Okay? Question 2, same thing. It's actually very similar to the stuff in the book. I changed variable names and stuff like that, but it's the same exact stuff we walked through in chapter 1. Remember, we were defining a variable and just typing the variable name, not putting it on the screen, that kind of stuff is exactly what it is. Okay? You need to save your answers on this. Out of all these years I've been using this, first time in this last test in computer security, one of my students did not save any answers. And this test will auto-submit, but it will not auto-save your answers. So if you don't save your answers and auto-submits, you got a blank test and you get a 0. So I'm most likely going to make it so there's a couple questions per page. That way you have to save before you continue on. The only reason is to solve that problem. This guy took the entire computer security test, never hit save once. Time expired, it submitted, and he had no answers. So it's not that the questions rely on each other. It's just that I need you to save to continue to the next set. I asked, how can I fix this problem? They said that's the only way they could think of. So just save your answers. Okay. Question 3 is again from chapter 1. We actually walk through it. It's using a math function. I can tell you that much. I just can't tell you what it is. You have to look at it. Okay. Question 4 is using Turtle. Okay. If you're using Turtle and you don't understand how to do something, what do? Help would work. Internet. If I wasn't sure how to use, okay. I want to know how to use set X, which is not the question, but say I did. I could go on Google and I could type in Python turtle set X. Oh, comes right up to the Python documentation for set X. Shows me how to use it right on the screen, shows me examples of it. Okay? Because I will tell you, the specific one I'm asking you for, we did not use. It's covered, but I didn't walk through it. And so what I'm trying to get with this is I want you to, I literally typed in Python turtle set X and it told me. So you guys could type in Python turtle this and it will tell you. Okay, I hope some of you have been doing that all along when you're writing these programs. If you're trying to do something, you don't know how, you just type it in. So it's very basic. Okay, so it's about turtle. Okay. I have another question about properly formatted headers. Remember how I'm talking about defining a method, defining a function, that kind of stuff? There's question 5. It's about defining them, how to do that. And I'm notorious for, oh, and by the way, all my answers, with the very few exceptions, are randomized. So don't think, okay, the first one was an A, means the second one's a B, means the third was a, no, that's not it. I literally select the randomized option, so it just, different people actually get them in different orders. Same question, same answer. I mean, same answers, but different orders. You know what I mean by that? Yes, sir. You're actually going to do this at home. So you can, and I'm not going to enable Respond as Lockdown Browser.
So what does this do?
I will let you know that in a minute. See, I'm multiprocessing right now. That part's still thinking. Because there's some part I need to add to it. But I said you can actually type 99.9% of this in your compiler and get the answer. You won't have time to do it. In forensics, 14 questions, 28 minutes. Guess what happens if you don't know the answer? You ain't going to have time to look them up. But a lot of these are straightforward. I mean, as long as you know how to define a function, it's right there. We just did it today. We even walked through it in class. We defined hypotenuse. How did we do that? What did it look like? Can you pick the correct one out of a list? That's all it is. Okay. Question 6. About a function body now. You know, got the heading, then we got the body. So know what a method function header looks like, what a method and function body looks like. You know, I'm just using statement 1. Yes, sir.
So are there anything we need to know about return the statements?
Okay, what is the difference between a method and a function?
Function returns return.
Function returns. That's as much as you need to know.
We don't need to know the format of the return.
No. I'm not going to make you, return such a... No, I will not do that. I'm really trying to get to the point. Do you know the difference between a function and a method? That's where I'm going with this. Function returns a value, method does not. I mean, that's all there is to it. If I tell you pick out the properly formatted function, you pick out the one with the return. If I say pick out the properly formatted method, you pick out the one without the return. So obviously you can have both choices in the answer. You just got to pick the right one. All right? Good question, though. All right. I have a question about range. Remember range? For I in range, that kind of stuff. There was 3 things we needed to know about range. Anybody? What? Start, stop, step. Know those. Remember range had start, stop, step. If I only supply 1, it's the stop minus 1. Remember that. If I only supply 2, it's the start and stop minus 1. If I supply 3, it's the start, stop, and step. Okay, make sure you know that. Because there's 1 question on it. Up, 2 questions on it. Up, 3 questions on it.
Start,
Step. So there's 3 questions on that. Obviously 1 for each. Okay?
That's number 7?
8, 9. Yeah, 7, 8, 9. And 1 for each. All right. I have a question about math and a particular method having to do with math. We use some of them today. We typed them in, we use them. As long as you can do that, you're good. Okay? All right. I don't remember what chapters these are out of, but it's probably chapter 2 or 3 at this point. Okay, I give you a small, short script. and I want to know what the output is when I type in something. Has to do with accumulators, if that helps at all. Okay. Question 12. In the book, they have a random example using random. That's what we're using here. And, I actually walked through this exact thing in class. I don't know if it was exactly in the book. Random's in the book. But I think I actually walked through it a little bit different. I added a little more functionality to it, and that's what I'm looking for. So whatever chapter that was at, go watch the video on that section, because it's the same thing I just did. And be very careful reading this stuff. Remember, parentheses matter. Square brackets matter. That kind of stuff. Pluses, what's a plus mean? Concatenation or addition, depending on where you use it. Okay? Remember the whole double quote, single quote thing around string? Does it matter?
Yes.
Yes and no. Most of the time, no. Unless you want to output quotes, then yes. Okay, so know that. Okay. Question 13 is a true-false question. I give you something, is the answer true or false? I mean, it's straightforward. Has to do with Boolean expressions. Hence true-false. Okay. Okay, question 14 is an if statement. What's the results of this if statement given a certain input? Okay. Question 15. Very basic math expression. I expect all of you to get it correct. If you're unsure of these, type them in. But you won't have time to type them all in. Trust me, I make them long enough so you won't. That's on purpose. I'm sorry. I'm just... for years, I always wonder why a lot of instructors give 10 questions, 10 minutes. Because if I give you more time than that, you can literally search, especially with ebooks nowadays. Wow. I saw a student was taking a humanities class. There was no ebook. He literally ripped the entire book apart, scanned in an OCR at every page, converted it to searchable PDF, and that's how he did his test. It was because the teacher gave him more time because there was no ebook. You couldn't search. Yeah, he fixed that. Did the entire book. I'm like, seriously? Wow. And the questions came directly out of the book, word for word. But the instructor expected you to have to go through. No, his was like, oh, there it is. Answers this. Oh, there it is. He was done the whole test in a matter of minutes. But no, you won't have time to type them all in. Okay. I got a question 16 is using strings. It has to do with repeating values. Covered that. Look that up. Okay, question 17, I give you a string and I want to make it output a certain portion of the string. So know how to do that. Question 18, I give you another string. Now I'm basically converting it to a list. How do I do that? That kind of stuff. We did it in many examples. You actually did it on that big long program where you had to do the frequency chart and all that stuff. Okay. Question 19, I give you a list. And I need you to output a certain way. So look over different ways to work with lists. Okay, question 20 is about a file. When you're reading from an already open file, blah, 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 blah. So open a file and do something with it. Okay? So we did that in the last program, wasn't it? Yeah, the 4 or 5 program. 4 or 5 program, yes. Question 21 has to do with opening a file. They 20 and 21 kind of go together, and so does 22. Well, no, they don't. I'm sorry. 20 and 21 do. They have to go with opening files and using files. If you finished your chapter 4 or 5 program, look at it. Because you did it. So, Question 22 has something to do with format specifiers. Know how those work? That one was probably the hardest one to type in so far. And that's where I'm at the moment. Okay. I am strongly thinking about adding a part where you have to write a small part of a program. Something you've pretty much already done before. Or I will let you know prior to Monday what that is. Okay? It's a program where you got to do something like this. I just haven't added it yet. Because I graded all your work so far. Based on what was submitted by a large portion of you, I should be able to take sections out of the book and say, use this. I would say over almost 3/4 of the class use the frequency chart. So that means you guys, because I didn't cover that. I literally did not cover that in class. So if I say, hey, on page whatever, there's whatever, yes.
So in the frequency chart, how do you change the things so you have different colors?
The colors?
Yeah.
All I did was, remember, the frequency chart's got a loop in it. Just check remember, like for I, so if I did for I in 5, that would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Just check if it's odd or even. Yeah, if it's an odd number, print 1. If it's, I think with mine, I think odd numbers I did red, even numbers I did blue. You could do that. So, but I'm most likely going to add some. It's not going to be the frequency chart. We've already done that. It'll most likely be one of those statistical functions. So, hey, got some time, walk through them. What?
Will that be during the test? Or will
Yes.
that be something that we
Actually, it'll probably be something afterwards. You'll complete the test and submit it, and the last question will say, do this, and from the time you submit the test, this must be submitted within X number of hours. Then what I would do is I'd look and say, oh, Chelsea submitted her test at 6 p.m. I gave her 12 hours. It's now prior to 6 a.m. She's good. Something like that. I will let you know. I will tell you up front before you start the test. Hey, you're going to have to do this. All right. And this is open book, open brain, open internet, but beyond that, not open. Okay. I do expect to have a total of 25 questions. I have 22 at the moment. Because you notice there was no questions about the pictures in here. I just haven't added that yet. See, there's a test bank that came with this book, but I'm not a big fan of using test banks. Because I've written test banks before, and they're not great. So, all right, everybody okay with what we've covered? Got a general idea of what's on the test? All right, so the test will be starting on Monday. Now next week is fall break, Thursday and Friday. I'm not having class next week with you, but I will give you Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to do the test. You just have to pick a time. I'll just tell you, you got X number of minutes, somewhere between Monday and it's due Wednesday at midnight. You just got to do that.
We won't have class next week.
Correct. We will not have class next week. You can actually do it during class. That's totally fine. But I just. Yeah, that's so. Instead of doing the test here, the reason I wanted to do the test here, but I have a lot of people doing it online, and I have students doing it online that work, and they can't get here. So it's not really fair to them since I've already agreed to let them do it online. So you guys do it during class if you want. Heck, come in here, use the classroom, or else do it at home. I don't care. But I will tell you the computers in here work, obviously. Don't contact me, oh man, I was doing the test in my Python at home, quit working. Okay, what do you want me to do about it? So, yeah, lab computers always work. If they don't work, you need to let me know. But we've been using them, no one's complained. Now, some of you's got your laptops that work fine, so it's good. All right, that's it, you're free to go. So it's going to be 25 questions. I've already given you 22, but I will add the little bit and tell you what it is. And I will tell you the time and everything prior to Monday.